Hiya, Dr. Allison JK here. Happy to be with you from the heart chakra of the planet, Glastonbury, England. So, how do you engage more support all around you and infuse that into your physical everyday life? So, we're talking about how do you engage the metaphysical, meta meaning obviously beyond the physical. How do you engage more of that support for you in your life and living? And if you own a business, for your business, and for your finances, and for your body, and for even just getting a parking spot. So many of you have tricks already, yeah? And prayers and ways that you do this. It's a bit different what I want to talk about today, because since this year has started, 2024, and the year of the wood dragon, I have noticed such an influx of increased support, because it's been amazing to, and I don't usually use the word amazing, but it's been profound to observe since about December 21st, 2012. There's been like these increases at different points throughout humanity's greatest awakening times from 2012 to 2032, where there has been an increase that I can perceive of more support focused on us on planet Earth, especially those of us who are willing to position ourselves to do good on behalf of humanity and the Earth at these times. And so what I like to have you understand, and that I see helps my students and clients, is that there is a field around you that is created by your, I'm not going to go into that now, but there's a field around you that ultimately holds all of your thoughts and feelings and emotions and blockages. And you're communicating constantly through that. And the unconscious and subconscious blocks that I call the back of the house consciousness, the more you clear them, the more you get clearings and activations. The activations are actually my joy zone. And people who receive my work, it's most of theirs too, as you can see me sitting up and getting excited about it, because there's an activation of keys and codes within you that, from all the spiritual work that I have done throughout my decades, all the sacred sites I've gone to, all the tuning in I do on a daily basis, all the meditating, all of the influx of light I invoke on a daily basis with my practices, it's all in my field. And then that activates without me. When I'm saying keys and codes, that's intentional. But just by you listening right now, you're receiving an activation of your keys and codes, which are unconscious. So then you taking some time each day, it could be while you're driving, because I really see so much of the misunderstanding that the spiritual work is separate from the material plane. It's not. The times we are in now, and there was just a recent up-leveling with some new planetary alignments that what I observed in energy corresponded with when I looked up the astrology to track with it. So there is this influx recently of more support, because it has intensified somewhat, yeah? To bring forward more possibilities in this year for creating more beyond what is sticking humanity right now. The old paradigm where there is still egoic behaviors and abuse of power and resistance to unity. You can see that, right? If you watch the news, full-fledged, you can see that. But what's really happening, which you can also see depending on your attunement to what you're attuned to observing, meaning what's going on in your head, whether including conscious thoughts and unconscious and subconscious thoughts, those gear you to be attuned towards observing the positive or observing the negative. So yes, you have choice. I don't need to go into that with what you watch and what you're attuned to. That helps build a momentum towards one of those two poles, right? But with the material and the spiritual, the recent influx I've perceived has been not just asking, as I've been talking about for years now, a balancing that's occurring during these times of humanity's greatest awakening, humanity's spiritual awakening, humanity's greatest evolutionary leap from 2012 to 2032. There is this influx of what I've perceived as infusing the material with the spiritual. So I've been talking about for decades how the metaphysical is what is at the foundation, right, of what creates the physical. And so understanding that and inverting how we're used to looking at the physical as primary because we can see and point to it, and instead understanding that our energy comes before matter. Beyond even that core teaching, where we're at now is recognizing that spirit is everywhere. The elementals are even more activated after the total solar eclipse at the beginning of this month of April. And it doesn't matter when you're watching this. This is, you could see this in 2 years' time, and this will be relevant for you because this is just on the cutting edge of what's coming in, as I usually am. And so those of you who follow me and work with me are obviously on the cutting edge of bringing in our new era, our new paradigm, our new golden era. And so how do you infuse the material with the spiritual? You dedicate, just like you have a gym workout in a chunk of time each day to go to the gym, you dedicate more time to either listening to clearings and activations with me so you can reorient your internal compass whilst clearing the back of the house consciousness to have more alive, awakened consciousness from which to make your choices from. Because what's central to this all is your choices, right? So that it's like that's the converter, and it's at the fifth chakra or the throat chakra that is the most corresponding to our choices. And with more of the clearings and activations and the activations of more of your keys and codes, your choices become easier to make that recognize you are in the act of co-creation. So this is getting into the nuts and bolts. I was thinking about talking about today the manifesting with co-creation and talking about the difference there. And that's really nuts and bolts too. So we're getting into the nuts and bolts about the creation of reality in our new era. And it has changed. Even from 3 years ago, 2 years ago, it has changed the mechanics of how you create, the speed with which you can co-create, and the new possibilities that can be co-created. So the more that you can tune into the invisible, that which is not able to be pointed to yet, as, oh, look, I can observe it, that's physical reality. The more you attend to your consciousness and work with it in your subtle energy system, because they correspond. I'm one of the few, if not the only one, that talks about this. The correspondence between what thoughts you hear and, more importantly almost, is what thoughts you don't hear. And then what that then corresponds to in your subtle energy system that creates your field and creates what possibilities you're able to pick up out of your peripheral as it expands and what you stay closed to. So engaging in some practices that will attune you even more to the subtle, so that you work with the interior landscape that has a vibration that is more easily overall able to vibrate with the higher light and higher vibratory energies coming in. The more you're going to start to see the elementals interact with you, the more you're going to start to perceive that support that is in fact all around you. I teach this in how to do this and practices where you can develop this in my Magic Manifestation and Money Flow program. What I also have just recently done is talked about this and co-creation versus manifestation from a great question that Darius on his You Wealth Revolution asked me to clarify, and it was a really great discussion. So I'm going to link to that below if you want to listen to that interview. There's also a way discounted package that will help you reorient your compass to listen and receive clearings and activations that help you infuse your material existence with the spiritual, recognizing that the power is not your money flows. The power is within you and what you choose, and not just about your money flows, but restoring the order that the metaphysical is beyond the physical, and our consciousness and subtle energy system is what interacts with it, and then what creates our physical plane. It's really an exciting time that we're in. So I welcome you, for those of you who are new, and blessings from the heart chakra of the planet for those of you who are the beautiful, loyal followers that are back again for another video. Namaste.